how do you know when you're too clingy? Were you too clingy and that's why your friend isn't responding to texts? I mean, okay, we are all too clingy sometimes. I say to my husband, stop, listen to me. And he does, usually. But my point is, if you are just not letting up and you are constantly needy for attention, for someone to listen constantly, not listening to their problems, it's always about you. And again, we're all that way sometimes, but it's when it's constant. And there is a rule of thumb, and I know you're going to say, oh, it's just a game, but you got to play the game. You really do, or people are going to think you're too clingy, whether it's a friend or it's a boyfriend-girlfriend situation, doesn't matter. Don't send more than one text in a row, and again, there are exceptions. But if someone texts you, you text them back, they text you back, you get the idea. But if you send 3 or 4 texts in a row and you haven't heard from them, it's too much. You're bombarding them. And I know you think, oh, well, that's really obvious, but sometimes it isn't, especially if something's going on and we're feeling like we need someone to talk to, and you're calling, or you're texting, or you're running up to this person all the time. Hey, you got to listen to me. I got this, and this going on. What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And they're going to listen once, and they're going to, give you their opinion. They're going to talk to you. But then you got to take a step back. Again, if you're texting more than once, or if you're texting too often, or you're calling too often, it can be too much, and people get taken aback, and they're going to distance themselves like clockwork. And also, if you don't hear from someone for a while, say you text them something, you don't hear from them for a couple days, then you text them back, and then again you don't hear for a couple days, you do the same thing. Don't text more than once a day. Do what they do. Follow their pattern. They text every few days, once a week, once every 2 weeks. You do the same thing, so that you don't look like you're trying to monopolize their time. And again, it seems like a game, but if you don't play it and you bombard them with text, calls, emails, whatever it is, they are going to distance themselves from you. You might possibly lose a friend, although there's a caveat to this. If you normally don't bother people, and all of a sudden you have a crisis in your life, and you're texting or calling a little more than you normally do, and you really need their help, if it's a good friend, they're going to drop everything and they're going to help you. But if this becomes a pattern and you keep doing it and there's constantly a crisis, that's where it becomes the pattern. But a good friend, they're going to drop everything to help you until your crisis is over, and they will respond to your texts, even in the middle of the night, although don't do that. But it's when it becomes too much, when it becomes a pattern, when this isn't a good friend, when you're just developing the friendship or the relationship. But remember, that's what friendship is about. You need to call on them. They come to you when you've got a problem. Just not constant.